Hey guys, it's USAFA. Welcome back to Voices of the Community. In today's episode, I sit down with one of the most methodical minds in Marvel Contest of Champions, a creator who's turned spreadsheets, strategy, and precision gameplay into an art form, Simula67. Simula's journey started all the way back in the summer of 2016, right around the time Quake first entered the game. What began as a casual download quickly turned into a long-term passion, one built not on flash or hype, but on discipline, curiosity, and a love for learning the deeper layers of MCOC. Over the years, he's gone from struggling through early alliances to leading high-tier wars with SSX, from uploading random clips to becoming a trusted guide creator, and in his own words, a destination channel for players looking for smart, reliable, and well-researched help. We'll talk about how he found his voice as a creator, what it really takes to build trust with an audience, and why strategy, both in-game and in life, might just be the key to longevity in this community. So grab a coffee, sit back, and enjoy my conversation with one of the most thoughtful and analytical voices in the contest, Simula67. Hey guys, it's USAFA. Welcome back to another episode of Voices of the Community. I am so excited today. I get to sit down with Simula67. Sim, how do you give an introduction of yourself and how you started playing this game?
Right. So I started playing back in like 2016, I think. I had seen like ads for the game all over my Facebook, and I was bored one day. I remember I was in the playroom watching my oldest son, who was I think 2 at the time, almost 2, and I was like, fine, I'll give this a shot. It's Marvel. I like Marvel, and as they say, the rest is history. I was kind of hooked on it immetly. Cannot believe it. It's been like almost 10 years for me.
So your son pulled you into this game because you wanted to play the game with him, huh? That's amazing.
Well, no, he was way too young to understand. He was
Oh,
just kind of like in the playroom off doing his own thing,
yeah.
and I had like nothing to do. So I was just sitting there on my phone, and I'm like, well, he doesn't really want to play with me at this moment, so let me find something to do. So I downloaded the game and tried it out then. So
So was it? I talked to a bunch of people I've interviewed beforehand. Back in 2016, that's really like the heyday of when this game started gaining popularity during the Marvel
mhm,
contest, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Uh,
mhm.
did you have any experience whatsoever with Marvel before you actually started picking up the game?
Not really. Like I didn't really have any comic book background, so at that time, pretty much all of my experience with Marvel was through, as you're saying, like the fledgling MCU, as it were.
Right.
But like I was really into it. Even my oldest, who again was very young at that time, he was kind of like into superheroes already. So yeah, I was interested in kind of like learning more about different characters other than the ones that I had seen in the movies. And the game was full of characters that I had never really heard of before, so it was cool
Right.
to see them.
Right. It's amazing because I'm so and I don't mean this to be pejorative or insult or anything like that, but Sim, you and I we're probably about the same age, right? Yeah, a little bit about right.
Give or take, yeah, give or take, yeah.
So I'm probably a little bit older than you are, and I know what phase of life I'm in. I mean, my kids are starting to get older, going into high school, into
Hmm.
college, and stuff like that. And your kids are still pretty young down there.
Hmm.
How do you balance playing this game at the level that you play it and creating content, your full time job, as well as spending time with your family?
Like like anything else, it's all about time management.
Yeah.
um I try my best not to just be glued face down to my phone when I'm hanging out with my wife, hanging out with my kids. So it really is finding time on my lunch hour, and eating lunch down here in my office slash recording studio, if you want to call it that.
Right.
Or like my wife tends to go to bed pretty early, so in the evenings after the kids are in bed, after she's in bed, that's kind of when I get most of my game time. That's usually when I do my war fights, and that's usually when I will sit down and either like write a script or start recording gameplay for whatever's coming up next.
Right. So I know I've played with you for quite a while now. You've been with SSX for 3 years, and
Mhm.
SSX, just like for Loki, is really a war alliance war focused alliance. Have
Mhm.
you always been this competitive and at this skilled at the game, or did you start at a different level?
No, no to both questions. For a long time, I hated war specifically. I know I recorded at least one video back in the day about which is why I couldn't take war anymore. I left an alliance because I didn't want to do war anymore. And then it wasn't until like I had a break from the mode for a while, and came back and just did some casual fights, I would call it, and then it kind of clicked for me, I guess, and I was like, maybe I'll give this another shot, and
Yep.
reached out to DLL and a couple other people who I knew who are already playing war at a high tier, and I was like, do you think I can do this? Do you think I have the skill, the roster? And to my surprise, all three of them said yes, and I was like all ready to be like, yeah, this is definitely not for me. If even one of them had said otherwise, but yeah.
So when you first joined, first started playing this game, you started just like the rest of us,
Mhm.
learning, the parry mastery, learning how to dex, learning the basic mechanics of the game, and especially back in 2016 when it was a much different game than it is today, much less complicated.
Mhm.
So you joined an alliance called Help.
Mhm.
Tell me about your time with Help.
Help was kind of the time when I really got to figure out how to play the game correctly.
Mhm.
Like when I started the game, I was kind of on my own for a while. I think I joined some like Reddit alliance that was not even full, or just people were coming and going. Nobody, it wasn't organized. Nobody really knew what they were doing. Was par for the course for me at the time. So I kind of moved around. I got kicked from a few other places,
Yeah.
and I had a friend from work who was also into the game, and he invited me to this alliance, H3LP, and it was much different than my prior experience in an alliance, because these guys were all very much willing to help new people,
Yeah.
and they really gave me the time and the space, and the slack to kind of figure the game out. And even like so at that time, I wasn't actually running. You may mention parry and dexterity. I wasn't actually running parry or dexterity. I had to be convinced by them to
Right.
unlock it, because I assumed incorrectly that something in the game that was essentially required to play would have been free, and at the time you had to spend cores to unlock those two masteries. Now of course it's free,
Right.
but I was like, why would this game company introduce these things that you need to have to play, and then make you pay for them? So yeah, once they convinced me, it was like a literal game changer, right? Because the game got a lot easier once I realized I didn't just have to sit there and hold block and take specials to the face. So
That's amazing. So H3LP or Help or
Mhm.
however you mention it, is it still around? Is it still around there actually helping newer players learn how to play this game?
Yeah, yeah, I don't know how active they are. I checked the other day, and there's probably one or two guys that are in that alliance that I still remember from my time there. But I
Yeah.
think a lot of the people that I played with have moved on to other places. But just the fact that the alliance is kind of still there in some form, just it makes me happy that it's just kind of like this memory from my past as a player here is still around.
Right. So, you know, Sim, of course, you are a prolific content creator for Marvel Contest of Champions, and I don't know anybody who does not know Simula67 and has not referenced any of your guides. They're absolutely fantastic. Um,
That's
and
very kind.
and in preparation for this interview, I definitely went through your channel and to look at all of your newer and older posts on your channel, and it's amazing. You have such a library of videos out there. But when you first started your YouTube channel, you kind of looked at it as like a personal archive, and it wasn't specifically to create videos and content for the community, but it was more of an archive for you. Tell us about that.
That's true. Yeah. So when I started the channel, it was really just to have some place to use as me commenting on other people's videos or streams, and I would upload like random fights here and there, and with no expectation that they would get any views, that anybody would care at all. I started uploading like war gameplay consistently very early
Yep.
on, and I was like, hunched over. I didn't have a microphone. I was editing on like my old MacBook, so like I was like hunched over using the laptop microphone. They sound terrible. The gameplay is not good. The narration is not good. But it kind of taught me a lot about how to edit. Uh, and it kind of progressed from there. The one thing that I really wanted to do was kind of store my Labyrinth of Legends runs
Yeah.
in their entirety on my channel for no reason other than maybe I'll want to look back on this someday and say, wow, remember that game? Remember, at the time Labyrinth was like the pinnacle of content,
Yep.
very difficult. You needed like, Aegon or else you pretty much couldn't do it. Um, and when I finally had the champs that I thought could get me through exploration, I was like, this would be really cool to just kind of put up on the channel, even if nobody ever watches, even if it's just for me.
Yep.
So I did that, and then I edited out some of the individual fights into like breakout videos, and a couple of those got some more traction, and things just kind of progressed from there.
Right. Now, you started creating content on your channel, and I know you had written to me about one particular instance of when you actually felt that your channel was making a difference and was being recognized. Can you tell us a little bit about that example?
So I can probably think of a couple examples. I'm not sure which one you're referring to, but one of the first things that I did that really I felt I was proud of on the channel was
Yeah.
I made a beginner's guide to the labyrinth, and it's still one of my top viewed videos today. It's probably very out of date, and again, I was recording it on my old laptop, so it probably sounds awful. But that was kind of the first time where I thought to myself, it felt really good to guide another player through this. Like I
Yeah.
had spent a ton of time planning and strategizing through all of my labyrinth runs. Trying to do them in as little items as possible. Back then, I wasn't as obsessed with itemless as I am now.
Right.
But I thought, if I can help somebody else in the community who is struggling with this content or is looking to do a first clear and just doesn't know anything about it, because even back then, like content was really daunting. It's even more so now, but back then there was fewer champs, fewer options, fewer utility. And yeah, putting that video out, it got really positive response, a lot more views than I ever expected. And that was kind of like a moment where I was like, this, that felt really good to be able to help other people.
Right. Yeah, and I'm sure that the comments on those videos were all very positive and helped
Hmm.
help bolster you into creating more and more content of the same ilk.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The example I was talking about was being on with Katy Candy.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that was kind of a turning point for me, I think, as a creator, and I think I've shared this story with her.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think I've shared it with anybody else really, but so back when this was, I don't know, 2018 maybe. Um, some people remember Katy Candy. She was
Yeah.
a prominent creator in the community. Channel roughly about the size of mine now. I think she has like 20,000 subs, and she was a prolific streamer, streaming every night. And she was my favorite streamer to watch because her channel was smaller than somebody like Seaton's or Brian Grant's.
Yeah.
She didn't have like a ton of people watching, and so that enabled her to properly balance interacting with the game and interacting with her chat. And what struck me about watching her was that everybody who came to her channel was made to feel welcome and was recognized and spoken to.
Yeah.
And in one particular instance, it's just one random day, I showed up into her stream as I usually did, and said hi to everybody. And she shouted me out specifically, and she pointed to a video that I had just put out, and told everybody to that it was really really well done video, really cool fight, and encouraged everybody in the chat to go watch it. And at the moment, that was like a light bulb moment, I would say,
Yeah.
because it was like, wow, this big creator has recognized me, recognized the work that I've done, and thought enough of it to shout it out to the people that follow her. And I think it was at that moment where I really decided to kind of take the channel a bit more seriously.
Yeah.
Because I thought that if it was good enough for somebody like her, it was probably going to be good enough for everybody else too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I bet if we talk to any creator out there currently with the game, they have a similar story as yours, as having another creator recognize another creator, and moving and encouraging them to make more content. For me, it was BMcG. I was trying to
love that dude.
Love it, dude. Yeah, I was trying to get monetized, get to 1,000 subscribers on my channel, and I was around 800. And B put a community post out, and within a day, I was over 1,000 and it was able to get monetized. So yeah, so I mean, every creator has a story like that, and that's what's so great about this community and this content creator community that we have, is the support that we get from each other in support of projects that are embarked upon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you've talked about wanting your channel to be a destination channel,
Yes.
somewhere where people seek out when they need help. What do you mean by destination channel?
So destination channel is kind of a term that I adopted from the company that I work for.
Okay.
They describe themselves as a destination for the type of industry that they're in. And so kind of what I mean by that is that I want to be a place where people expect to see something of high quality, reasonably, fast for a guy with, a full-time job and a wife and kids. And I think it means that I want to be a channel where people seek out when they need help, rather than me needing to like serve up stuff to everybody. I want people to know, okay, this story boss is coming out next week. I'm definitely heading to Sim's channel because I know that he's going to have a guide up, and the guide is going to be good, and it's going to help me get through this fight, with as few revives as possible. So that's kind of what I mean by that.
If somebody were coming to content creation that's brand new, that has no experience in streaming or creating content for this particular game that we love so much, what would you say to them about the hardest part of what you do in creating the content that you do?
The hardest part is probably continuing to stay motivated to do it, because it is a lot of work. It's way more work than I think most people realize.
Yeah.
And some days when I've had like a really bad day at work, or I just feel so tired, and I sit down and I'm like, I really just want to do anything but like, put on a smile and record something for somebody. So, kind of overcoming complacency would be another way to describe that, I think. And I go through periods where, like I'm sporadic in my uploads. Like right now I got back into Assassin's Creed Shadows, so I've been playing a lot of PlayStation lately, and as a result my content has suffered a bit, but like it's just about finding that balance.
Yeah.
Don't burn yourself out, manage your time well. You are not required to upload every day. There are some creators in the community who, I don't know how they find the time and the energy to do it, but they are daily uploaders, and absolutely hats off to them. But for me, I don't think I can be that person. So I just kind of have to be comfortable with who I am as a creator and kind of the schedule that I can keep.
Yeah, absolutely. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't consider this your channel as like a large money maker for you. I mean, this is
no, definitely not. It is all hobby.
Yeah, it is all hobby, and you're right. I mean, some of the guides that you produce, and I can just guess it takes weeks to produce some of these guides that you do, especially for like the Act 9 bosses and that kind of stuff. And you're so articulate and so helpful to the community. And it just takes hours to do this, and it's not like you're depending on a successful video to pay rent. This is a hobby for you, and yeah, that's absolutely amazing. All right. So Sim, I did tell you that I have some questions for you that you are unaware of. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fold them in here. Now these are rapid fire.
Okay.
These are rapid fire questions. I don't want you to think about it too hard. Okay. I just want to get give me your honest.
Should I be concerned? Should I be concerned?
No. They're all fine. They're all fine. Nothing that's going to get you in trouble. All right.
Okay.
All right. So just give me honest reaction.
Okay.
Champion you've spent the most time trying to solo a boss with.
Void.
Well, that's an easy one, man.
I mean, if it's any champion related, it's
It's
probably
Void.
going to be him. I've used him more than any other champion in the game,
Right.
without a doubt. So yeah, probably Void.
All right. Now you've told me that you use spreadsheets a lot, that you love using spreadsheets. All right.
I do love me a good spreadsheet.
If your spreadsheets had a theme song, what would it be?
Oh my god. Oh man. I don't even know. Probably some song with like math or formulas in it. Um, that's a hard one. I don't have a good answer for you off the top of my head.
I'm thinking "Eye of the Tiger." That's the theme song that I
There you
put.
go. We'll go with that. I like that one. That's a good song.
All right. What's more satisfying, a perfect intercept or finishing a video edit with no errors?
Oh, I mean, the second one has never happened in my life. So, I
Yep.
mean, yeah, like it's all you always and I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So even when I deem a video good enough to release,
Yeah.
I will watch it and I will just nitpick like little things. I could have said that differently. I usually avoid like major spelling errors or anything, but like, okay, that transition didn't work out too well, so I would call those editing errors. So a satisfying intercept for me. I don't know what the latter feels like.
Okay, noted. Which champ has the most underrated animation set?
Oh, underrated animation set. Man, I gotta bring up like Aunt May or something here and look real quick.
Oh, don't worry. I'm
Um,
I'm gonna have you list all the masteries by memory too pretty soon. So.
Jesus, that was so difficult. Um, Underrated animation set. I really like. Man, this is way more difficult than I think. I really like iDoom's animations. Actually, I like
Yeah.
the character, but I just like how he is. I like how he's got the like the glowing green stuff kind of flittering around him, the techie stuff. Yeah, I think he's really cool. He's got like the modified Doom slap
Yeah.
since he's Victor Von Doom. So yeah, I would say him. He has some great animations.
My favorite is the Maker right now. Just the animation
He
set.
has some really great
Yeah.
ones. Yeah.
All right. So if you could instantly master one piece of MCOC content, what would it be? Would it be War, Battlegrounds, or Everest?
Um, Instantly master. It
Yep.
would probably be a tie between War, um, and like the nameless Grandmaster fight in Necropolis.
Okay.
If I could get through that fight with a solo, I would consider myself a pretty good player. But yeah, that more realistic is just being better at War.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So one creator that you could switch channels with for a week.
Ooh, one creator that I could switch channels with for a week. Um, I would probably say somebody like Noob actually, because he and I think have very similar
Yeah.
niches in the guide creation space.
Yeah.
And he's a creator that I specifically look up to and respect because of that.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I were on his channel for a while, I would be able to learn a lot more about kind of what makes his stuff so good
Yeah.
and be able to adapt that to my content.
So I was on with him last night, and I got to tell you, I really hate people that are so nice and that have that there's something's got to be wrong with them. So on my list of two nice people are Enzo, who I absolutely hate,
Hmm.
and now Noob because he's just so darn nice. I don't understand it. Yeah, all right. So that is the rapid set of questions for you. So I hope it wasn't
Whew,
too bad.
survived. All
All
right.
right, wasn't too
We're
bad.
good.
All right, let's get back to the real interview here. All right, so
All right.
you've called yourself a spreadsheet guy, like we said,
Yep.
which is already says a lot about your play style. What's your process of making and breaking down a new event or champion on that spreadsheet? How do you do it?
Um, it's mostly about making it functional. So like a bunch of the sheets that I release publicly are like planning guides for content like the Ordeal,
Yeah.
or what was another one that came out recently? Wheel of Fate. I did a spreadsheet for. So it's making sure that I'm not only providing help in the form of, okay, here's what the fight is, here's what you should probably look out for, here are some champions that you may lean towards if you're picking a team for this. But the sheet itself has to be functional in terms of like minimizing human errors, human planning errors specifically. So I put in simple things like, making sure that for like a Crucible quest, you're not you don't have the same champ assigned twice, because that will be a painful experience for you if you're halfway through a piece of content and you can't use the champ that you wanted. So balancing like aesthetics with functionality, I would say is really important.
So let's talk about balance. So you have an analytical mind. It is understood by the entire community that you are definitely left-brained. But this game is for fun. We're supposed to be enjoying this game, and you spend a lot of time building these guides and champion deep dives and everything, you employ a lot of your analytical mind and left brain towards. But don't you just want to have fun? How do you separate all this analytics that you do and just decide to have fun with the game?
It is fun for me. That's what makes the game fun.
You're a sadist. That's what you're saying. You're
like,
a sadist.
That's kind of why I got into like war planning as well, because like there's something just very satisfying about developing a plan of attack, literally in the case of war, and seeing that plan play out, seeing people solo fights that you've given direction or instruction on. And similarly for spreadsheets that I put out for content, it's getting those comments back that say, wow, this really helped me. I got through this, without using a revive. Thank you so much. You've saved me a lot of items. You saved me a lot of units. So the game itself is very fun for me and has been for 10 years or whatever it's been. But the kind of the cherry on top of what keeps it engaging, what keeps it interesting for me, is being able to help people and being able to show off, like like you say, my analytical left brain.
So we've talked about how great your guides have been, and they've been fantastic. Can you think of a guide or a video that you've created where you feel that it's fallen short and you wish you could go back and redo?
Probably those old Labyrinth guides. I think I split them up into like 2 or 3 parts. And I think if I ever were to go back, like Labyrinth isn't really relevant anymore. But if I could go back and kind of redo them with all of the knowledge and experience that I have now, I think that they could have been much, much better and much slimmer than they were. So.
Well, would you enjoy seeing a updated Labyrinth, with tougher champions, better nodes, better rewards, just have a re-release of the Labyrinth?
Yeah, definitely. I think that would be something very cool. I've often suggested in the CCB server like a harder version of Realm of Legends, where Realm of Legends was like the test server for many people, right? For a long time. And poor Winter Soldier, he just gets beat up on day after day after day. But those fights are 4 stars. The health pools are still valid, but the challenger rating difference makes judging damage and utility a lot more difficult. So I always thought I'd like to see kind of a harder Realm of Legends, or like Realm of Legends 2 Electric Boogaloo, but like the order of the champs is reversed. So you have like Winter Soldier, like a big bad Winter Soldier as the boss in that content. Health pools ramped up. 7 stars. You got the SP3 enabled. So just like giving people a more updated generic test area, I would say. That would be something I would be into too.
Has there been any bite from Kabam at all about considering that, or is it just
I don't think so. I'm not sure how interested they are in giving people places to more places to practice, I would say.
right. All right, let's switch gears into your time with SSX, the second best alliance in the game. So you've been there for 3 years, right? And if I were to think of definitely SSX is our brother with VoC. We just have
Mhm.
a lot of shit in common, and we talk with one
Mhm.
another all the time. You've been there for 3 years, and that relatively that's a relatively long period of time to be in one alliance. I've been in, I think, 5 alliances the past 11 years I've been playing this game. What's kept you there so long?
It's the people.
Yeah,
I think I've been in SSX longer than any other alliance I've been in previously.
yeah,
And even from, people have come and gone from the alliance as I'm sure it's been the case, for you and for Loki. But like the culture that we've kind of developed in the alliance is just second to none.
yeah,
And I'm sure you have a very similar feeling and opinion about your time in For Loki. But the people, the culture, that's what keeps me there. And there have been times where I've been frustrated with the game, frustrated with war, and been throwing around like leaving and just kind of doing my own thing. But I always just come back to like I enjoy playing with these people uh, as much or even more than I enjoy playing the game in the first place. And I feel like if I were to lose that community aspect, that smaller tight knit community aspect that I get in SSX, there probably wouldn't be much left for me in the game. So yeah,
yeah,
sticking around in SSX is important to me. I think I told you previously that there's basically nothing that could get me to leave at
yeah.
this point. They're going to have to kick me, you know, kicking and screaming if
Yeah,
they want me gone.
yeah, I feel the same way with For Loki. It's been six
Mhm.
years for me now there, and I can't leave. You've
Yeah.
mentioned that some of your best friends come from SSX, and that yeah,
Mhm.
in real life outside the game. Can you give me an example of what friendships you've built while being in the alliance?
Yeah, like just in general, like this game and my time in this game, my time as a creator, interacting with other creators has just given me so many real life relationships that I am incredibly thankful for.
Yeah,
In SSX specifically, I'm very close with DLL, our alliance leader. I went to his wedding a couple years ago,
yeah,
which was really very cool. I'm friends with Clown, who's in For Loki with you guys. He has
right,
accounts in both alliances. Very close with him.
yep,
But even like outside SSX, like MSD and B McG you mentioned earlier, like I'm very close with the two of them as well. And
yeah,
I think the common thread with all these people is that we all feel comfortable enough with each other that we are talking, day to day about non MCOC stuff too.
right,
Like MSD and BNI have a text chat that we are in, every day or whatever. Just talking about whatever comes up. If it's MCOC related, great. If not, whatever.
right,
So it's
right,
just kind of being being given those types of relationships as a result of a video game
yeah.
is pretty special.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have Clown on my speed dial. Whenever I want to talk to him. So,
Mhm,
absolutely.
mhm.
I mean, it's strange to be in a mobile video game and have these sorts of relationships that we've built. It's been
It
absolutely
is, and
fantastic.
like my family and my other friends in real life, they don't quite understand it.
Yeah,
Mostly my family. They're like,
right.
so like the first time I went to Vancouver, for example, my parents are like, why are you flying to Canada? I'm
Yeah,
like, oh, I'm going because a bunch of people from all around the world are flying in, and we're gonna kind of all meet each other for the first time in
yeah.
person. And they just kind of gave me this like blank look, like, why
Right.
why would you want to meet these weirdos from the internet,
That's right.
in Canada? I was like, you just don't understand.
My family realized that it was important to me when I don't know if you remember DAP, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So Dap is from Texas, and he drove up to Maine to hang out with some relatives up there, and he stopped with his family and visited us here in Boston. And my wife and my kids, they were like, "Who is this weirdo coming from Texas? With their family hanging out with you?" And it was great actually having him over here. And you build these real life friendships, and
Yep.
uh, and it will forever change you. Absolutely
Yeah, like
fantastic.
when we went, my wife and I went to DLL's wedding, and like B McG was there, and his girlfriend Allie was there
Yeah,
too. So kind of got to meet the two of them, and now like we get together with DLL and his wife whenever they're in town for the holidays, usually because they're also from Texas.
Yeah.
And we're, when we meet in like the Pittsburgh area, which is where I'm originally from, we usually try and get together. But yeah, it's just really cool. Like, and when I'm on a call planning war, and my wife will come downstairs, like, who are you talking to? Oh, I'm talking to B, I'm talking to Ty, talking to DLL, and she's like, oh, okay, cool. Hey guys. So
Right. They're
just like they've been like initiated into like
Yeah.
the friends group, right?
they don't even blink now when you say their in-game names. They're like, oh, you're talking to Clown. All right, yeah, got it. Right.
I have to catch myself, like, because you kind of get a feel for who is okay with having their real name out there and who isn't.
Right.
Like I had to catch myself there, not saying DLL's real name because I don't think he would like his name out there.
Right. All right. So every alliance has its personality. Ours has a personality. There's GT40 has a personality. What is SSX personality? If you were to describe it to an outside viewer.
Very laid back, very welcoming. We just have a really good time with each other. Like anybody who's in an alliance with people that they've played the game with, for as long as we have, it's probably similar for them. You get very comfortable with these people. You can joke around. You can talk crap on each other. But at the same time, it's also a place specifically in SSX where we have developed and fostered a culture with regards to war where we want to be making sure that we are building each other up instead of putting each other down.
Yep.
Like specifically when it comes to dying in war sucks. It feels bad. Nobody likes to do it. And a lot of alliances will kick you for a couple deaths, and we feel like it's a better approach to develop these players and to build them up and show them how they can improve. And then it is that much more satisfying when they go into a fight that they previously died to, nail the solo, and they're excited about it because they did something that they weren't able to do previously. So it kind of goes back to that, that personal mentality I have of just really wanting to help each other. And we've kind of expanded that to the Alliance.
Let's move over to the state of the game. You've mentioned the Battlegrounds isn't your cup of tea, right? What's your core issue with Battlegrounds?
I'm just not a very competitive person. Like one-on-one stuff, like the team stuff, like AW, I'm into, but I'm just not really into like Battlegrounds. When it came out and we were testing it on the CCB beta years ago, I remember putting a video out and saying that it was a mode that I could see sustaining the game long term. And I still believe that's true, but I believe also that there have been some really unfortunate side effects of the mode and its popularity that I just don't really care for. But yeah, like for me, it mostly comes down to I'm not competitive. I don't want to go in and embarrass myself in a Battlegrounds fight because I am somewhat well known, I guess, and it just I don't know. I just have a weird mental block about it, I guess.
You're right. Yeah. I mean, if you could walk into Kabam's office, in 2 weeks, while you're up there, and you had the chance to give them one piece of advice with regards to Battlegrounds, what would you recommend?
I mean, aside from deleting the mode, which I wouldn't do that. Honestly, I would probably play more if it was like anonymous. Honestly.
Right.
Yeah. If the person that just kicked my ass didn't know that it was me that they were, pounding on or whatever, I would feel much better about playing more Battlegrounds than I do. I play the bare minimum right now, and I cannot be bothered to play any more than that. So.
Oh man, I play Battlegrounds, and I lose a lot because I'm not very good at this game. And and I would say I would go immediately onto the official MCOC Discord channel, and within a minute of me getting my butt beat, there would be a screenshot of somebody saying, "Hey, I just beat USAFA."
Yep.
It hurts.
It's just the worst. Or like when you get like the toxic emote people who are just spamming stuff. I'm like, dude, get a life, man.
So you've praised events like Wheel of Fate and the Ordeal as being phenomenal. What
Mhm.
did those events get right, and you wish the command would lean more into them?
I mean, for starters, they're solo content, which is kind of like the
Your bread and
type of
butter.
stuff that I enjoy most in the game
Yeah,
is solo questing, and I think for those two types of content in particular, it comes back to my interest in kind of like being able to plan out my runs.
yeah,
And like I said earlier, I get a lot of satisfaction from not only completing content, but completing the content well, I guess,
yeah,
or itemless, or whatever the case may be. And for something like Wheel of Fate, where you really need to plan out your runs because it's a crucible style content, getting like the perfect team and going back and tweaking. I can move this champ here, I can move this champ down here. This would give me a better option for this fight. I find that really enjoyable, and the Ordeal is similar. You're
yeah.
just trying to make like a single team work for all of these complicated fights. I really just enjoy that kind of content more so than like the Everest style stuff where it's just like 10-minute fights and you're just doing the same thing
Yeah.
over and over again.
Do you think Kabam's making a good balance between solo content and the competitive side, or do you think that they're leaning one way or the other?
So I would say that this year was probably the best year in a while in terms of that balance. Like I really
Yeah,
enjoyed all the solo content that they put out, and I think that people have different opinions of like the elder EQ, but I do appreciate that they are at least trying to make changes and progress the game forward. But
yeah,
like in terms of the harder, lengthier solo content, this year has been fantastic. Like Wheel of Fate was great. I could be misremembering the dates when these came out, but
yeah.
the last year or so has been phenomenal for solo content. Yeah.
There's the present this year. What's your general outlook for the future? Do you think the game is still exciting, or do you think it needs some help?
Um, Probably a mix of both. I would say that this game has a lot of people who've been playing for a long time, and it's probably a mix of players who are doing it just out of habit and those who truly still enjoy it. But at the same time, I do think that MCOC is kind of just suffering from being a you know coming up on 11-year-old game,
Yeah,
and for a mobile game, a live service game, that is a very long time to
yeah,
have a game operational. And so they have a lot of work to do to kind of keep it fresh, try new things. um, but I am mostly optimistic about the game's future for the
yeah.
time being.
Yeah, and especially after Summoners Fest in a couple weeks,
Hmm.
I'm sure that excitement is going to grow at least for the short term.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So going moving beyond the game, you've already proven yourself, and you are known in the community as one of the most respected content creators out there. What motivates you now? Is it the creativity? Is it the teaching aspect, or just maybe the satisfaction of making something useful for the community?
Kind of all of the above, I
Okay.
would say. We've talked a lot about just how I enjoy helping other people. So, like from that aspect, the teaching aspect I find really satisfying. Somebody commented on a guy the other day that I had good didactics, and I had to look that word up.
Didactics. That's a good
Yeah.
word.
So, and when I looked up, it was a very nice compliment. But yeah, so like the satisfaction of being putting out a piece of content or a piece of content that you are proud of.
Yeah.
I find a lot of good in that. Creativity, I'm definitely not as creative as a bunch of other creators in the community. I kind of try and keep it more simple and focus more on the actual content rather than I guess I try and minimize fluff, if you will.
Right, right. So you mentioned noob earlier in the interview, and
Hmm.
you've also mentioned to me that you wish you would have found your niche a little bit sooner
Hmm.
in your content creator journey. What finally clicked that made you realize that this is actually what I was meant to be doing with regards
I
to MCOC?
I think it was when I put out the Citalis boss guide.
Yeah.
for 8.1. That was a few years ago now. And that was the first time where the CCP got early access to a boss, and kind of in the CCP server, kind of nobody was really talking about, making content on it. I think everybody just kind of assumed that it was there just for us to give, feedback on the fight,
Yeah.
find any glaring issues or bugs with the fight, and provide that feedback back. But like, I immediately saw it as an opportunity, like, wow, I finally have an opportunity here to get early access and be like the first person to put out a boss guide for something.
Yeah.
And the appeal of being the first to do something like that was really strong. So I worked really hard on that guide. It got a very favorable response from the community. And that's kind of when I realized, this is, I'm pretty good at this. I'm going to keep this going. And
Yeah.
so starting, and I kind of fought it for a little while, but not too long after that was when I made like a conscious decision to kind of scale back on the other types of content that I was putting out and
Yeah.
really focus on, like if it's not helpful, it's probably not worth me doing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what my guiding principle has been since.
Well, I mean, you're kind of screwed now, because now after when story mode bosses get released, every now and then you are expected to deliver to the community.
That's fine. I'm cool. I'm cool with that pressure. Yeah.
All right, Sim, it's already getting a little bit late. I've got two more questions for you. Uh, Second to last one is,
All right.
when if MCOC disappeared tomorrow, what would you take away from this overall experience?
Um, a lot. Content creation in particular has been a enormously positive experience for me.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to sit down in front of a camera and talk to nobody.
Yeah.
Or even if you're streaming, to sit down in front of the camera and just mostly just talk to a bunch of strangers on the internet. So like from a confidence standpoint, from a public speaking standpoint, if you go back and look at like my very first streams, and you look at a video or a stream that I've done recently, it you would probably it would be difficult for you to tell that it was the same person.
Right.
So the life skills that I've learned as a creator have translated well into like my working environment, where I'm much more comfortable speaking up, speaking out, and taking the lead on stuff. So from creation, I would take that away. But like beyond the game, and I mentioned this earlier, just like all of the relationships that I've developed
Yeah.
over the years with all the people that I mentioned, and plenty others that I haven't mentioned. And I know that if the game ended tomorrow, there would be so many people that I would still stay in contact with for years to come, just because we have that type of connection, that type of relationship that just extends beyond sharing an alliance, sharing a game with each other.
Absolutely. All right, last question, Sim. Then I'll let you off the hook, man. All
All
right.
right, all right,
All right, I ask this of everybody I interview, just to get
okay.
their opinion and view. But I want Voice of the Community to be a long-lasting series, and I want to interview many, many, many more people out there in the community. There are a lot of us, so this could be my full-time job, I'm sure. But the question I ask people is, it if you are to listen to another episode of Voice of the Community, who would you want to hear from most? And now you can give me a name, you can give me a category. It can be free to play, casual spender, whale. It could be content creator. It could be Kabam employee. Who would you most like to hear from in future episodes of Voices of the Community?
Ooh, I can think of a bunch of people that I would love to hear from, or that I think the community would like to hear from. Um, I think one person I would love to hear from on this show would be probably Bitter Steel, who
Better.
was a recently hired, so a lot of experience as a
Yep.
very skilled player, way more skilled than me. Uh, Skilled player. He has a channel, recently hired, so he's kind of getting his feet wet with the game from that end. So just kind of hearing like his nascent experiences with the game team, I think
Yep.
would be fun. Um, as far as like more established creators, I've talked about MSD before. I would love to see him on the show. B McG also
Yep.
would love to hear from. Um, If you did an interview with Clown, that would be pretty. That would be pretty interesting. I feel like,
I don't know
yeah,
if the
you know
word.
what?
I don't know.
I'm going with Clown. Clown is my number one answer. I
I
want to
don't.
see Clown on the show.
No, I don't know if the world is ready for Clown. I don't. I think
That's exactly why you. That's exactly why you should do it. Like it's you're gonna have to put like a warning at the start, like don't listen while children are around. Yeah, we're gonna go with Clown.
All
Forget
right.
everything else I said. Sorry, bitter.
All
We're
right.
gonna go. I want to see Clown on the show.
All right,
Yeah.
we'll get Clown on an upcoming episode. He's, I know he's dying to sit down with me too. So yeah, so we'll get Clown on.
I can't even imagine some of the stuff that he is going to say. He has like a lot of very good, well thought out opinions on the game that I would love for other people to hear because
Oh,
I hear a
absolutely.
lot of them from him when we plan together. So
Oh yeah, he is extremely intelligent, and
Mhm.
but he is a no there's no holds barred with him.
Yep,
He's very
yep,
direct, and he will tell you
yep,
exactly what is on his mind, very unapologetically. So,
yep. I
um,
love that about him. Yep.
yeah, yep, yep. All right, so we'll get him on. We'll get on a future episode. All right, Sim. So that's the end of the interview. Thank you so much, and don't think I didn't notice you got a haircut for me too. So,
I did, man, just for you. I had to get
awesome.
it, when you're a guy, you got to get like that 10 to 14 day prior to, a big event. So I made
Yep.
sure to get a haircut, a little bit in advance of Vancouver next week. So it would still look good. It would still look decent. Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, so we're going to end this interview. Please, everybody that's listening, please, if you wouldn't mind hitting like or subscribe to this video, that helps me out. And if you're not on Simula's channel, which I really doubt you are because he's just absolutely freaking amazing, go over to his channel, subscribe to his channel. He's put out some really great guides. But that with being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video all the way through, and we'll see you guys in the next one.